Welcome back to Gets Real, where we explore topics that matter to you. Today's episode is all about being friends with your ex. Can you still be friends after the relationship has ended? And how can I handle it? Hey, I'm Ty, here with my sister Nikki.
Hey, boo.
And this is Gets Real, the place where newly singles over 30 gather together to navigate this crazy world of modern dating. Here on Gets Real, we have candid conversations on the topics plaguing the dating world when you find yourself single again. Join us every week as we talk about the pros, cons, and mindset as we hit the road again on our dating journey.
We can't be friends, 'cause I'm still in love with you. I think that's how they go.
It is. Firstly, it's important to acknowledge that being friends with your ex is not always possible, nor is it healthy. Both parties must be emotionally mature and on the same page about what it is and what it means to be friends. If one of you or both parties are not ready, it might be best to take some time apart and revisit the idea of friendship later. Are you friends with your ex? Any of them?
My ex-husband, yeah. My second one. My first one, No, I think we tried to be friends, but there were some things that I don't really like. It was some things that I didn't really like and agree with that made it difficult. I think it's a little bit harder to be friends with an ex when y'all have children together, because whereas you may be okay with the relationship ending between you guys, you may not necessarily agree with how they handle the relationship with the children. And whether you are the custodial parent, non-custodial parent, there's going to be some things, a child tends to sometimes be a little closer with one parent than the other. Mm-hmm. And so those conversations, you be a little biased. And so you be like, I want to bust his head every time. I want to bust his head.
We some head busters. We some head busters.
Right. So I think that can make it difficult to establish a friendship. And then what that friendship looks like. Do you really want to know if your ex is dating and who they dating and you want the details? Like, oh, yikes. I didn't really want to know that about him.
So I'm one of them weird exes then, because me and my ex are very much friends, but we've had this conversation that together we've come to the realization, and we have we've been together on different occasions multiple times. So we have now come to the point in our relationship where we realized both of us is mouthy. And so in a relationship together, because we were in a relationship, we tended to hold back some of the things that we would say naturally, so that we wouldn't offend each other. Or we took more accountability for how that person would feel. So communication for us, we tended to stifle, because our what we would say immediately off the cuff, your feelings gonna be hurt and you're gonna be mad and we're gonna be divorced again for the 44th time.
Because y'all finna tussle.
Yeah, because we about to fight. But being friends, we're the best of friends, because we're at a point where you can say how you feel, I can say how I feel, and we don't give a shit about with their reason. We don't give a shit about how you feel. If what I'm saying to you is real and legit and what you need to hear in that moment,
right,
it is what it is. So I'm not going to tiptoe around your feelings, because I ain't sleeping with you. So you can go lay in your bed and be in your feelings for a little bit, but nigga, I'm gonna call you back tomorrow if I see something funny on the street.
Right.
But it took me a long time to actually realize, because in our relationship, I would tell him all the time. He was like, oh, you my best friend, nigga, you are not mine.
Oh, I remember that. And I would be like, oh, the rudeness.
But it was on the point because I knew there were some things that I would tell you as a friend would probably hurt your feelings, and then we gonna have to sit and talk about it, and I'm not that in your feelings person. Now I can say some shit and he be like, damn, bitch, I'm gonna call you back. Until he calmed down. Right. Or I calmed down. Like we were talking and he said something off the cuff and I just stopped responding. Let me get my feelings together, because that's not even what we're talking about. Like that's not what I called you for. But we know that about each other. So once he realized I legit stopped texting responses to him, he texted me a meme and I was like, I'll text you tomorrow. But in a relationship, we could not do that.
Okay.
Because then you gonna come home and we gonna have to deal with why the hell I stopped answering the phone.
Right. I can see that. Being friends with your ex can be tricky. For even though me and my ex-husband are very friendly with each other, there are boundaries. You know, even you know my sense of humor, you know what I like and what I'm into or whatever. But like, you can't send me like a flood of like sexual memes.
Oh yeah. No.
No, I don't. Yeah. That's a little triggering for me. So having those boundaries of what you can and can't really dive into is imperative. So he and I, like, we discuss, safe things. If he has, hey, let me run this by you for work or whatever, or even recently, my youngest decided, because he's a senior this year, I'm almost an empty nester, decided that all of a sudden he wants to do welding, and I'm like, honey, I don't know nobody who do that. What you talking about? We were planning on accounting and physical therapy. We were headed in that direction. Where you get this welding from? But I called him because he works oil and gas. He's been around people who do that. So I'm like, okay, what do I need to know if that's something that my son really wants to do? So being able to have those boundaries of what we discuss with each other is never to make the other person be uncomfortable, because whereas we did have a relationship, we were married, there's just some things that to me seem like I don't really need to discuss that with you. So I try not to discuss too much dating, or if I'm in a relationship with him, the ins and outs of that. What you need to know for. We're not together. So yeah.
Yeah, I think me and my ex, we discuss our relationships, but it's more so on well, she said this, and I'll be like, and I said this, and I was like, you shouldn't have said that. Don't do her like that.
Okay, yeah.
Because I know him more, and like, if I tell him something, he was like, well, I mean, he's still getting to know you, and I've known your ass for 20-something years, so leave that man alone. And stop ruffling his feathers.
Right. And me and my ex have had similar conversations, because he'd be like, sometimes you can be very mean and you can be out of pocket, so you're gonna have to be nice to somebody at some point. And I'm like, that's relative. But it's one of those things. I've always been kind of concerned about what relationships with how my friendship with my ex is gonna affect like my next relationship. I don't know if I should be coming in here telling you that me and him is still friends, or if you gonna expect for me to cut that off. Some people feel like, yeah, you need to cut that off. That's an ex. It's, he done seen you naked from head to toe. Like, y'all can't be friends like that. So
I think that aspect also depends on the person and their understanding of your relationship with the person. Because I think I have told my partner that, oh, I talked to my ex and he said this and he did this today, and I know at some point he be holding the phone like, oh, okay. But he also knows that I don't want him.
Right.
So there is no source of jealousy or insecurity aside from him being the father of my child. Mm-hmm. Like, no, I don't even look at him like that no more. Mm-hmm. That ship has sailed. Mm-hmm. But it's understanding the boundaries within that relationship and being open and honest with your new partner about what that friendship is.
Right.
And entails.
Yeah, because I know that I did mention it to one person that we were talking, getting to know each other, and he's familiar enough, he's familiar with my ex. And so he tried to tell me what his opinion was about my ex, and I was like, whoa, don't do that. Because now we finna tussle. Because I go hard for my friends. And you're speaking on someone that you're speaking on him in a way that you don't have all the facts. Who does have all the facts is me. So what we're not going to do is we're not going to even discuss it, because I'm not going to bring you in on the facts. I'm just going to tell you to get up off that. Change the subject.
Yeah.
So...
See, you sound like my ex with that, because his girlfriend was like, well, I'm not comfortable with y'all talking like that. If it's not about y'all's son, then y'all shouldn't be on the phone. And he was like, you cool? And all, but she ain't fucking going nowhere. That's family. So figure that what that insecurity is for you, because it ain't got nothing to do with us. Right. That's a you insecurity.
Yeah. And that's something that I had to kind of figure out for myself with my first husband, because even though we were not necessarily friends, you couldn't tell him he wasn't family. He's showing up at all the family functions. And I was like, bro, it's Mother's Day.
Not your mama. Go away. Where is your mama?
Where your mama? Around the corner. Literally lives around the corner from my mother. And honey, take yourself over there. And that, that was a growing curve for me to make sure that my second husband felt comfortable with that dynamic, because it was like, hey, we've had conversations about this. He still shows up. Some family even tells him and invites him. I can't control that part. The only thing that I can do is let you know that I'm here with you and make sure that you are straight, that we are straight.
Right.
That's about it. But that's what that other person's response to my second husband was like, just very... what was you doing? Like, I don't like that. But even though with my first husband we're not friendly, I don't allow for people to speak ill of him either. And definitely not in front of my children. Whatever your opinion of him is, keep that to yourself. I don't need to know it. My children don't need to know it. But that's to protect, to me, the integrity of my children's relationship with their father.
Right.
So... but I know that can be a very kind of sticky situation. But like you said, if we have that conversation that I've told you, like, I don't see him like that, I'm not attracted to him like that, we still talk, in very general terms. We're talking about work, we're talking about life. Then he was there in some areas in my life, and sometimes people have to understand with my ex-husband, he's literally been around 20 years. Mm-hmm. So you can't expect for me to just throw away 20 years of knowing someone because of...
you popped up.
Yeah, I would... my hope is that you would have some level of understanding as to what that is. Mm-hmm. And if he has a female, a woman in his life that he's been friends with that long, I'm sure you're gonna expect for me to have a certain level of understanding that, you know, this my cuz, this my sis, however you refer to her, you're gonna want me to understand that that's your friend.
Right.
And they've been there. So I think it'll be fine as long as that's communicated. We talk about it and those boundaries are set of, you know, I don't want to have your phone and, you know, she done sent you a picture for Titty Tuesday.
No, Tuesday.
I
thought it was tacos on Tuesdays, but alrighty.
Well, I mean, if she sent
tacos,
if she sent her own personal taco picture, I'm gonna be upset. We gonna have some. It's gonna turn into Tussle Tuesday. So let's be real clear on what's happening here. So,
So while it's important to recognize that being friends with your ex might not mean the same thing to both parties, it's crucial to have the conversation about what being friends means, what kind of friendship you both are comfortable with, and how you both plan to move forward. Communication is key. Being open and transparent about your feelings, boundaries, and expectations can help you to prevent misunderstandings. Also, it's important to be respectful and considerate of how your other partner feels. And it's important for you to focus on building a new kind of relationship. The dynamics of a friendship might change, and it's important to be open to the possibilities of the different kinds of connections. Remember that being friends with your ex does not have to be a negative thing. It does require work and effort, but it is possible to maintain a healthy and positive relationship. That's it for today's episode. We hope this episode gave you some insight on how to handle being friends with your ex and what it means for the next relationship. Remember, always prioritize communication, respect, and healthy boundaries. As always, follow us on social media and subscribe to our podcast for more insightful discussions. Thank you for tuning in. Until next time, let's keep getting real. Don't forget to grab the Little Black Book on our website to help you navigate your values and goals while staying organized during your dating experience. Want to join in on the conversation? Leave us a message and follow us on Instagram at XOXO_on-the-go, where you will find helpful tips and dating ideas for you on your journey. Hey, don't forget to subscribe and leave a comment or topic that you'd like to discuss as we navigate dating together.